Good morning, everybody. Well, it's morning as I speak to you. It's Monday the 29th of June, Monday morning. I'm back in the studio after having a lovely weekend and a lovely Saturday night with you people. Thanks for that. I'm back recording another song and at the moment I'm just setting it all up and thinking what the arrangement is going to be, and I'm having a coffee. So this song that I'm recording today is one of my own songs. I have a previous recording of it done, but it's not up to much really. So I'm going to record a full studio version of it. It's the song that a lot of people are asking for, called One for the Road. When I'm introducing this song, you've probably heard me saying about this is the song where it's kind of based on a true story. It's happened to a lot of us, where you get drunk by accident. So you go out for a walk or whatever, and you bump into an old friend, you have a chat, and the next thing you find you're in a bar continuing the chat, and one drink leads to another. So that's the song I'm recording today, and I have a whole lot of different ideas in my head for it, so when I get something a little bit more solid, I'll continue on the video. Okay, so I have a little idea about some of the flavour I'm going to put into the song, because it's kind of supposed to be a funny song, supposed to be a little bit comedic, and one of the things I kind of hear in my head for that, to give that comedic sort of tongue-in-cheek sort of sound to the song, is a sort of an accordion sound, not like your traditional Irish jig reel type accordion. The sort of thing that you might hear on an old comedy, black and white comedy movie, you know. Now, obviously, being in a small studio, having a limited budget, I don't have access to thousands of different actual physical instruments. I have my, you can see on the wall, I have my mandolin, and I have my banjo, and I have my guitar and stuff like that, and harmonicas and a few bits and pieces. But if I suddenly decide I want accordion, and good accordions cost thousands, or if I suddenly decide I want flutes or organs or whatever it may be, I have to turn to technology. So maybe some of you are already aware of how this works, but for those of you who don't, I'll just give you a very quick look of how I'm doing that. So I'll just turn the camera around and give you a look at what I'm doing in the software. Okay, now please forgive if there's any little wobbles in the camera, but so what I have here is the recording software, the DAW that I use, which is, as I explained before, is Reaper. And over here, as we can see with the mouse here, I have a track which I have named Accordion. Now, what that actually is if I go into this track and show you what I have, it's actually a synthesizer. And to trigger that synthesizer, I have, I'll just close this part. To trigger that synthesizer, I have a MIDI controller, which is this little keyboard here. Now this keyboard here doesn't actually have any sounds built into it. It is literally just a controller. It sends a signal via USB cable into the computer, into the software, and triggers this. So at the moment I have it selected on accordion here. And if I play the keys, I get an accordion sound, and of course it's very cleverly done. It's touch sensitive. I can play it gently, I can play it loud, and it's very effective. So what these companies do is they literally do all the work for us, in that they go to studios and record all these different instruments and then put them into a software package, a synthesized software package. Some of the companies just synthesize the sounds by programming, but then some of the better companies actually record the real instruments, and so we have them at our fingertips here. So I mean, if I wanted to change this, I could change this to let's see, a vocals kind of choir sort of thing, I'll say female choir pad. Okay, so I've changed that now. So if I play it now, I get, oh, that's very low. Hold on, I'll bring it up a couple of octaves. Now I'm just showing you that for demonstration purposes. I'm going to be using in my in this. I'm going to be using the accordion, and I'll be bringing it down to it. And I'm thinking of doing this kind of a that kind of a rhythm to it. So I just wanted to show you that. So if anyone was ever wondering how we were able to get all these violins and strings and stuff into our recordings, it's because these really good companies have gone and they've created they've recorded the sounds for us and then packaged them up in a synthesized software package for us to be able to use them. And of course, it's like anything else, quality is everything. So if you pay a bit more, you get much better results. So this one that I'm using is quite a common one. It's called Air Expand 2. It's been used in studios all over the world for about a decade or more, I think. And I was very lucky. I got it on sale last year, so I got it at a bargain price. When I jumped at the bargain price when I saw it was available, because it's one that you yourself have heard on many recordings. You just probably didn't realize it. So that's how that is going to be work. So I'm going to be playing the accordion to the best of my ability, and that's probably going to be almost the main track besides the guitar in this one. I'm going to kind of have this comedy sounding 3/4 kind of waltz timing rhythm throughout the song, because I think it kind of has that tongue-in-cheek sort of feel to it. So that's where I'm going to go with that, I think. Let's see. I often get these ideas and they don't work out, so we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, back again. Right, so what I've managed to do is play in the accordion notes using the little MIDI keyboard that I showed you. MIDI, not mini, MIDI, M-I-D-I. For those of you who don't know, that stands for musical... What does it stand for? Musical Instrument Digital Interface. Sorry, my mind went blank for a moment there. And basically, so as I said earlier, what that does is it tells the computer on the virtual instrument that I'm playing, it tells us what note I'm playing, and the velocity, the volume of the note that I'm playing. So it's very touch sensitive and it's kind of very realistic. And as I explained as well, a lot of the time in the more expensive virtual instruments that you can purchase, it's real instruments that have been recorded in studios and then compiled into these packets where we can use them in our own mini studios. So it's brilliant technology. It's really superb, and works very well. So I have the I'll just turn this around just to show you for a second what I have got. So what you're seeing here is the accordion track. It looks different to actual audio tracks because each of these little blobs that you're seeing, these little blocks, they are computer information. They're MIDI information that's basically telling the computer to play a certain note at a certain velocity at a certain time. That's basically it. That breaks it down as simply as I can put it. So this is telling the computer to play that accordion that I showed you earlier and play these particular notes. Okay, so since you last saw me, change of t-shirt, haircut, shave. Anyway, I had to nip out. I had to take a break during the recording process, so I'm back a little later on the same day. I'm carrying on. So I got the accordion track done, the MIDI accordion track. That's all done and dusted. So now I'm going to lay down the guitar track, and just like the video you may have watched of me doing the Ballad of Billy Reid, I've plugged in the guitar directly into the interface, and I'm using the same small diaphragm condenser microphone. It's a Behringer C2. It's by no means an expensive microphone. This is actually quite a very cheap microphone. Just proving, I suppose, that although it would be nice to have the best of gear and the most expensive stuff, it's it's not always possible, firstly, and it's not always necessary. Some great results can be got because gear nowadays is equipment, music equipment is becoming cheaper and cheaper as the technology becomes more and more accessible, not just to the likes of me, but to the companies that are able to manufacture it. So, once again, I'm going to stick on the headphones. I'm going to play the track and just play along the guitar with the accordion track that I have put together from earlier. So, on with the headphones and on we go. Okay. Made a mistake straight away. That's okay, I'll just delete them and start again. What am I doing wrong? Let me just see. I know you can't hear what's going on in the in the accordion. What way am I doing this after the introduction? I'm going. Oh yeah, I have it now. I have it now.
And I bumped into one of my old pals. He was out taking in the fresh air, and we thought it a lovely idea if we were to go for a beer.
Okay, so that went reasonably well. A couple more takes and move on then to the next instrument, which I'm not quite sure what it's going to be yet. Might lay down the vocals next, actually, because it'll be nice when I'm adding anything on to have the vocals to work with. Right, I got the accordion and the guitars done, and I think now the best thing I do is get the main vocal line down and just build everything around that. We'll trust the SM57 instrument mic, but as I've explained in the other video, I just find this mic is the most forgiving mic on my particular vocal tone. So, gonna tap away, give the vocals a shot, and hopefully only have to do 1 or 2 takes. I'm making the same mistake as I was making with the guitar. I kind of forgot earlier on in the day I had this arrangement in my head, and then I went off to my mate's house for a tea party for his son's 21st for lunch and stuff like that. And now that I've come back, the arrangement is I'm after losing it a little bit. So I've got this very quick introduction, and then it goes straight into the vocals. So I need to straight into the singing. So I need to be on top of it. Try again. One fine after day. What's an after day? One fine afternoon I went walking with no destination in mind. So, oh God. I'm having a bit of a nightmare here. I'm going to delete that and start again. I'm not hearing myself very well. Okay, here we go.
One fine afternoon I went walking with no destination in mind. I thought I'd go down on the quay front, sure you never know who you might find. And I bumped into one of my old pals. He was out taking in the fresh air, and we thought it a lovely idea if we were to go for a beer.
You drank Guinness and cider and shots of Hussar, and you just went in for the one. Yeah, that went okay, I think. Not sure about the ending again. I might change something in the ending, but so far so good. I'll probably do another couple of takes and cobble them together to make the best take out of it. But that went okay. Okay, I've done all the main vocal now. So I'm going to continue on while I have the vocal setup here. Without taking it down to go for the next instrument, I might as well use it. So I'm going to tackle my nemesis, the harmony vocal. I've rehearsed it a couple of times here. It's quite well, I don't even know if I'm doing the correct harmony, to be honest, but it's something slightly different to the main vocal anyway. There's a little fly keeps flying around, and I'm afraid it's one of those lads that when he bites you, he's that size, but the boil you end up is that size. Go away, you bugger. So I'm going to do this backing vocal / harmony vocal take. Give it a go and hopefully it'll work out alright. That won't do. That wasn't getting the harmony note wrong. That was just getting the bloody whole thing wrong. Aha, I got him that time. Okay. So I'll try that again. I will just go in for the one. We'll just go in for the one.
But 5 hours later you're still at the bar. The barman has taken the keys of your car. You drank Guinness and cider and shots of Hussar, and you just went in for the one.
I'm not sure what that's like, but sure, that's what I'm working with at the moment. It might be okay. We'll see. I might have to try and change it a little bit, but that's the harmony vocal anyway. I'm going to do a few more takes of that, sing the separate choruses, etc., and do a few takes on each chorus. I think I'll give that a listen back first to see if it actually is a kind of if it is even a harmony, and then after that I'll move on to the next thing. Okay, I've decided to lay down a bit of a banjo track on this, but I'm doing something very unusual for me because I don't like strummed banjo. If I hear somebody strumming a banjo, I just think it's even though the banjo is one of my favourite instruments, I think that's one of the most horrendous sounds ever. I prefer old style banjo picking, rolling banjo kind of chords, or finger picking, that kind of stuff. I don't like strummed banjo. Funnily enough, for this particular song, strummed banjo is exactly what fits in. So it's unusual for me because I very, very, very rarely play it in this style. But that's the style I'm going for on this particular song. It just seems to work. So the banjo track is going to be a strummed banjo, which is very strange for me, but here we go. Also, I'm going to come in on about verse 2. So I'm just going to actually I'm going to play from the start and decide later on where I'm coming in and where I'm not coming in.
Now the one is a mythical creature. Its existence is up for debate. For whenever you try to engage it, you'll end up drinking beer by the crate. With yourself you must try to be honest. When out to the pub you have gone, it'll end up in inebriation, 'cause you'll never just go for the one.
Well, that sounds awful on its own, but in the headphones with the rest of the music it actually sits quite nicely. So I'm going to do a few more takes because I made quite a few cock-ups in that. But so that's the banjo that's going to be in it. It's going to be strummed banjo, which is, as I said, very unusual for me. I don't normally relish the sound of strummed banjo. I normally prefer the old style picking and frailing styles of banjo playing. So But that's it. Sometimes the song dictates what goes where. So I'm going to get on with the next few takes of this and get back to you then with the next layer on the onion. Hello again, folks. Day 2 of recording One for the Road. Be surprised how much the time goes by when you're doing continual take after take after take. So today I'm starting off with, I've been in here for about nearly an hour now, I guess, rehearsing, because I'm laying down a melody line with this 5-string banjo. Usually I don't do melody with the banjo, but it just seems to fit in this song. Same banjo, I've capoed up high on the fretboard to give it a sort of a higher pitch in the same key. I could have played the key way down at the bottom of the neck here, but I've capoed it up purposefully to change the tone, to change the sort of timbre of the banjo, not to have a lower kind of tone. So I'm going to give this a go. Probably have to do a few takes because melody is always a little bit of a challenge to me, which will be, that's fine, that's the usual. I'm using you can just see it here, I'm using the large diaphragm AT 4035 SV because of the nice bright tone that it gives to the banjo as well. Unfortunately, there's a man working next door, building an extension on the house next door. No complaints there. Man's got to do his work, absolutely 100%, and I have no complaints whatsoever. But what it does mean is that some of these takes might have some background noise, so really I'm going at this with my fingers crossed that it'll work out. If not, it'll just be practice really, until maybe tonight. I'll come back out when it's quieter. But you know, rather than waste the time, I'm going to go ahead and give it a go, and if it works and I don't have any background noise, we're quids in. So I'm going to get on with it here. And straight away, I made balls of it. I don't know. Have it. Okay, we'll try again. Oh, no, God. You know what? I'm after practicing this about 20 times already to say today. And it's been fine, you know. Right, I think that's it. It's that little bit at the start just keeps catching me. And it's that usual thing, you know, when you're practicing and practicing is fine, and then when you hit the red button and you think someone's watching you, even though you're not actually here, it just makes you go a little bit nervous. Okay, we'll give it a go. Oh, for God's sake. Again. Oh. Holy God. I'm just going to take a break. I'll come back to this in a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. I've had a few more practices. I don't know what's wrong. It's just one of those things. One time, sometimes you just get those days where you just fingers won't do what you want them to do. We'll give it a go.
One fine afternoon I went walking with no destination in mind. I thought I'd go down on the quay front. Sure, you never know who you might find. And I bumped into one of my old pals. He was out taking in the fresh air, and we thought it a lovely idea if we were to go for a beer.
Okay. I got it that time. A few mistakes along the way, which is the norm for me when it comes to melody. So I'm going to do a few more takes of that, like what I did, like what I always do. And should be okay. But I think it sounds good in the track. It wouldn't be normally the way I play the 5-string banjo in this particular tune. I'm playing the 5-string banjo in two completely different styles to what I would normally do. So that's interesting, and I hope you find it interesting. I find it interesting in my head. So yeah, I'm going to do a few more takes of that, and I think then might be finished. I don't know if I'm going to add any other melody instrument. I have this sound in my head. It's like, it reminds me of a sort of the soundtrack of like an old black and white comedy cartoon or film or something. That's what I kind of have in my head for this. I hope the finished product gets that across. Anyway, I'll move on. Okay, I've got the banjo melody laid down now, and I think that's everything for this song. So I have a MIDI accordion. I have a main vocal, a backing vocal, a guitar, strummed banjo, and a melody banjo. And I'm going to have a listen to that, see what way it needs to be edited, and then do the usual processing, the usual mixing, compression, equalization, all of those things. But I'll just give you a quick look at what I have here so far. Finish up then, I think. Okay, so as we can see, that big kind of brown major dot factory there is that's the MIDI accordion. The green ones are the vocals, the red ones are the guitars, and down a bit further we have the purple one here is the strummed banjo, and this one here with all the other takes on it. I've already edited the banjo here, so, and the guitars, so they're just one. I've left one take there, but the banjo here, the melody banjo, still has to be edited, so I still have all of the takes there for you. So that's how you can see they stack up on top of each other. And when I'm listening, I can, if I highlight one, that's the one that's playing. If I highlight that one, that's the one that's playing. I'll just give you a quick look at that actually. If I just play from here, I'll probably have to turn it down a bit so you can hear my voice. So the melody banjo that you can hear, okay, so now the top one is playing. Now the green one, the blue one, or the purple one. So you can see when they're playing, because I was playing them all at the same time, you know, playing them with the music and that, they line up really perfectly. So when it comes to having to cut bits out of one and leave another one, it works quite well. But that's, as I say, that'll be for another video. This is the mixer view up here. Sorry about the wobbly hand. So accordion, vocals, guitars, banjo. So yeah, that's basically it. So you've seen there what I have to work with, and now it's just about editing. Make sure, as I say, I've already edited some of the guitars there and already took out any mistakes and stuff. So I have those takes ready, the ones that I'm going to directly work with. So I have to do the editing on the banjo and make sure that I have the one complete take that I'm going to work with, and then start mixing. We're on day 2. I would expect to have this finished by the end of day 3. That's not working 24 hours a day or anything. Don't get me wrong. It looks like that microphone's going to fall. No, that's not working 24 hours a day or anything like that. That would be, you know, working probably 5 to 6 hours. Because you got to take, the thing with mixing music and recording music and stuff like that is you have to take breaks. Nothing to do with feeling tired. Your ears get tired and you get ear fatigue. And what starts happening then is, and you'll find this with a lot of people who are starting out, they don't realise they're getting ear fatigue. And you don't really, it takes you a while to get used to noticing that you're getting ear fatigue. You don't really notice it until you listen back to one of your mixes a few hours later and you realise that you've made your bass sound way too loud, or your high-pitched stuff is pumped up to the heavens because your ears have gone tired and started shutting down to those frequencies. So it's very important to, after a couple of hours, to give your ears a half an hour or so rest and then come back. But that's probably, as I say, for a mixing video, and we'll get onto that later on in the year, or later on in the next few weeks or months. Yeah, I'll get on to this, I'll get on to editing, get on to mixing, and hopefully you'll enjoy the finished product. So thanks a million for your support, and I'll talk to you all again very soon.
And you just went in for one.